I want to ask what is, like, if there's one myth, one of like the biggest misunderstandings that you could debunk in all of the years of your work, what would it be?
Well, one thing that I think is really important to talk about is the dirty T-shirt study, or the smelly T-shirt study by Klaus of Tiki, who was a Swiss researcher. Probably 20 years ago now, he was thinking about the fact that you'll often hear women say, talking about, a man that they've met recently, women say things like, well, he's a really nice guy and he's attractive and he's good in bed, but he just doesn't smell right. You'll never hear a guy say that. Very rarely, right? And Klaus Wedekind was thinking, he's an immunity researcher, and he was thinking, well, women have a sense of smell much more acute than men's. So it makes sense that they would be more tuned in to smell than men are. But why? Why do they, getting back to the beginning of our conversation, is there an evolutionary reason for this, for women to have? And the conventional view is, well, when a woman's pregnant, it's very important what food she eats, because some food might be damaging to the fetus. And, so her sense of smell is important. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. But it isn't just when they're pregnant. It's all the time. And it seems to be tied into mate selection somehow. So his hypothesis was maybe women are picking up information about men's immune systems from their smell. So what he did, there's something called the Major Histocompatibility Index, which is, for the sake of illustration, we'll say that there are 5 different kinds or classes of pathogens that attack our immune system. And so we have 5 different responses, right? So what he did was he found men who were high in 4 and low in 1 of those 5 categories. And his thinking was, if I find women who are normal in 4 levels but low in that level, they won't be attracted to this guy because their baby would be very vulnerable, because the baby probably will be super low in that category and so likely to get sick or die, right? So he had these guys wear T-shirts for 5 days and nights, no showers, no deodorant, nothing, just T-shirt and body odor. And then he took those T-shirts, put them in Ziploc bags, and he sat the women down and he had them smell the T-shirts and try to judge how attractive the man was based only on his smell. They never saw the men, right? And so he tabulated the results, and what he found was that about 80% of the women chose exactly as he predicted. They chose the men who were high in the thing that she was low in, so that his immune system would compensate for her vulnerability and their baby would be stronger. And the man who was low in the thing that she was low in, she was not attracted to. She found his smell to be horrible and repulsive and not into it at all, right? But about 20% of the women seemed to be choosing randomly. They weren't fitting into this pattern. So he ran the test again, got the same results. Then he went back and looked and interviewed the women again. He hadn't asked them about birth control. So he went back and asked them, are you on any birth control? And what he found was that the 20% who were choosing randomly were on the pill.
Whoa.
And the others weren't. So imagine, and it makes sense, right? Because the pill convinces your body that you're already pregnant. So if you're already pregnant, it doesn't matter what the guys smell like. You're not going to get pregnant again, and until you've had the baby or whatever. So how many relationships? The woman's on the pill. She meets the dude, good sense of humor. They both like Thai food and, Louis C.K. or whatever. And they get together, they get married or whatever. They form a relationship, decide they're going to have a baby. She goes off the pill. She has the baby. baby's born. Okay, now this dude stinks. She doesn't want to be anywhere near him, right? It's not his
Mhm.
fault. It's not her fault. It's nobody's fault. And to make it even worse, the baby is likely to be unhealthy because they've totally short circuited this natural inborn mechanism that we have for choosing our, people we're going to have babies with based upon immunological compatibility. So this idea that, and this gets back to problems we were talking about earlier, like, I think one of the big problems that we have is that men think women think like men, and women think that men think like women. And of course, we think very differently. Like the things
Mhm.
we're into are very different. And men can't imagine what it's like to have a sense of smell that's 20 times stronger and be sort of attracted and repulsed by things that we can't even sense, you know?
Mhm.
So, like, a guy will go out and have sex with a woman and come home and be surprised that his wife, like, knows. Of course she knows. She smells it on you, dude. It's like you're, trying to walk by a dog with a steak in your pocket and think the dog's not going to notice. Like you're in totally different worlds, Anyway, so that's something that I think is really important for people to know about. If and this isn't like an anti birth control diatribe at all, but just if a woman's on the pill and meets a dude, go off the pill, use something else for a while before you make any major decisions, because that might not line up and you won't even know it until it's too late.
That is fascinating. I've heard similar people try to break down, oh, it's just pheromones or it'll make you more attracted to more feminine men, like more like passive men or like ones that have more feminine features versus you tend to be more attracted to more masculine features if you're off of the pill. But I had no idea about the health and like the immunocomparability or anything like that. And that makes so much sense. And I love this era that we're in where people are kind of really unpacking birth control and we're really understanding everything that goes into taking it. And again, it's not anti-pill, but it's just conscious consent and knowing everything that you're signing up for. Because I know when I started, they just said, oh, this will make your skin great and your cramps go away. That was it. Like they didn't tell you increased risk of stroke or synthetically altering your hormones. That could be issues down the road for autoimmunity. None of that was, given to us. So I think that is super valuable. Thank you so much for sharing. And yeah, ladies, I would pay attention to that.
I was doing a radio interview one time shortly after Sex at Dawn came out, and I was talking about that. And the guy I was interviewing, or who was interviewing me, I saw his eyes just like he had seen a ghost. He was just sitting there like, oh, his mouth was open, and he started like pointing at himself while I'm talking, right? I'm like in the middle of, trying to explain the research and all this. And he's like, oh, and after the interview, as soon as we stopped shortly after that, and after he turned off the mics, he was like, dude, you just explained the failure of my marriage.
Whoa.
Now I know why she left me. And it was like, yeah, like after we had the baby, she was just like, I'm sorry. I don't want to sleep with you. I don't want to, there's something, your smell has changed. And the dude was like, what are you talking about? My smell has changed. Like, you know, and imagine
Mhm.
the heartbreak of
Mhm.
like, because you still love each other, whatever was happening, between your minds, that hasn't changed. And now you have a baby together, but you can't trick the body.
Mhm. Right, and it goes back to having that inner knowing and listening to your body and understanding that there is just so much intelligence within it, and to try to reconnect if you feel like you're disconnected with it, and to not give that power away or outsource it to someone else because you have so much of it within yourself.